What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is January 21st, 2025. This is my first podcast of the year, recovering from cold, also recovering from doing some sports reporting. Very busy start to 2025, but also loving the fact that I'm better now, and I'm willing to be able to come back on and do my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter. And I am talking to a very special guest today. Her name is Marissa Kraus. She is a sports reporter for the Colorado Gazette out there. We're going to talk to her about her why and get to know her a little bit and also ask some fun questions as well. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Marissa Kraus.
Hello,
Good evening, Marissa. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for bearing with me. My apologies for some reason it wasn't coming on, but we are finally here. Thank goodness we are here on Zoom, and I'm very happy and excited to be talking with you. How is your week starting off?
Yeah, it's not too bad. We've had a lot of winter weather here, a lot of, cold temperatures, negative degrees, but it's a lot better now. So, yeah, it's off to a good start. How about you?
Well, it's very cold here. It's about 5 degrees. I'm in Minnesota, so you
Oh,
already know
okay.
how that is. So you know how we're going to get that for sure. And yeah, just recovering really from about a week and a half, almost 2 week cold from me.
Yeah.
So definitely the change of season. The weather has been so funky. Like we'll get 40 degrees one day, the next day we'll get two. So it's just really crazy
Yeah.
like that with the temperature change. So I'm just happy I'm feeling better for sure. I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on here. And that's because I know you're a sports reporter out there at the Colorado Gazette, and I'm a freelance sports reporter, but I've done sports reporting in Atlanta, Georgia, and here in Minnesota in different publications for the past 6 years. And now I'm doing it freelance, which is amazing, and I love it. But I love talking to other reporters and getting to know their story. Everybody's story is very different. I know you went to the University of Nebraska Lincoln, which we will talk about that for sure. And your story is just as important as the ones we cover, right? We cover a lot of human interest stories, we cover a lot of different games and stuff like that. But we don't really have the time to sit down and talk to one another like this and get to know each other as far as our stories. So I'm very excited to hear yours. And with that being said, my first question is the same, Marissa, with everybody that I have on this platform. And that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Were there any role models, inspirations, maybe as you were growing up? But what is your why of getting into sports journalism?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I grew up doing a lot of sports. I did soccer for like 7, 8 years, and then I got into track and cross country. And I eventually did track and cross country in college at the University of Nebraska. So sports have always been a big part of my life. And when I was getting into journalism, I started in high school and wanted to continue that in college. And I was trying to figure out what thing I wanted to focus on, photography, news, sports. So that was really kind of tough to figure out where I wanted to put my focus. But just being a student athlete, both in high school and college, I really wanted people to know that I was more than just a student athlete and more than a runner. I
Yes.
especially felt that in college that a lot of people just saw me as a runner and I'd run and do school and that was about it. And I actually did a lot more than that. I was really involved in different clubs on campus and really into like academics and schoolwork and stuff. So I wanted people to know that I was more than just a runner and I really tried hard to show people that I was a lot more than that. And so when I got into sports journalism, that was kind of part of my mission was to show student athletes for who they are, than more than just their sport, whether it's, high school athletes or college athletes or even professional athletes.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part of my why is showing just the different sides of athletes through my writing. So I would say that that's a big part of my why.
Absolutely, like right. Show about not just what you do, but who you are, right? And I think that's multi important. I really do, and I love that. I love that why. Mine was really simple. Just I love sports. My dad got me into sports. I played sports in high school, and I grew up in California, so I
Hmm.
was a huge Kobe fan. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely something I want to do. I love watching it, love playing it. I want to write about it, and I want to make a difference in communities. I want to be able to tell stories that nobody else tells, that nobody else thinks about. And us as writers, we are always looking for that next story. Even when we're covering a story, we're always looking for something that could be more interesting to our readers, to our public, right? So that's what we do as pillars in our community. Um, I want to ask you, what kind of clubs were you in? Because I was in a couple clubs myself in college, but what kind of clubs were you in?
Yeah, I was involved in a lot of different ones. So one big one was the Student Alumni Association with the university. So I was on the board of directors. So we would organize events for students on campus to connect students with alumni and get people or get students excited about homecoming and that kind of thing. So that was a big part of my college career. I was also on the student advisory board for the College of Journalism. So kind of being a liaison between the dean of the college and the students and putting on different events and promoting classes and that kind of thing. And I was also in the honors college, so I was in the on the advisory board for that and doing kind of the
Okay.
same thing, just connecting with honor students and stuff. So yeah, those are kind of the main ones. Then of course the Daily Nebraska and our student newspaper, I was involved in as a sports reporter, photographer, and then eventually an assistant sports editor. So those were kind of my main things and kind of dabbled in some other ones, but
That's
um,
pretty amazing, Marissa. I love that. I love to hear that. I was definitely involved in. We had a school magazine called The Peak because I love writing different sports stuff, but also love covering different events. I wanted to be versatile. That was one of my things coming out of college. I wanted to be very versatile in covering different kind of events. Sports was my number one love, but I also love doing different stuff as well. We had AAB club, which is called Kennesaw Activities Board Club, which we would do different activities kind of around the school. I went to Kennesaw State University. That was my alma mater. And then the last one was the game club because I'm a huge gamer too. I'm a person that loves to play 2K, FIFA, um, any sports game really. I love to play for sure. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we at the University of Nebraska, we had a big esports program in the College of Journalism. So they started a varsity team, and they actually had some classes that students could learn about esports. And are you familiar with Amon Green, the
Yes,
Packers
absolutely. The
player?
running back for Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, so he's a professor for those classes. He came to University of Nebraska and was a professor there. And I actually was in one of his classes called Intro to Esports. So we learned all about esports from Amon Green, and he has a lot of he's really involved with the gaming and has his own Twitch channel and all that. So I got to learn a lot about gaming through him.
Absolutely. One of to me, one of my favorite running backs, as well with Eddie George being one. I mean, I could kind of bore you to death with the running back position, but I know Ahmad Green for sure played with the Green Bay Packers, and he was one of those special ones because he only carried the ball in his right hand. I'm not sure if he told you guys that do that, but he only would carry it in his right hand. He never would carry it in
Really?
his left. When he played.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember him for sure. I want to ask you about University of Nebraska Lincoln because that's where you went. That's your alma mater. You graduated last year, which congratulations on that.
Thank
But
you.
tell me, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you to go from Nebraska to another school?
Um, I mean, I guess starting in high school, I was also looking heavily at the University of Missouri in Columbia because I'm from Columbia. I actually grew up there. And, the University of Missouri College of Journalism is really well known, and some people consider it the best. And so that was one I heavily considered. But I just loved a lot of things about Nebraska. I liked that it was away from home for one, but I also
Sure.
liked that
Sure.
it was. I don't know, a smaller journalism school, so I felt like I had a little bit more opportunity and wouldn't just be a number and just be able to flourish a little bit more and get started right away with my freshman year. And with the University of Nebraska, is also a really good place to get involved with sports journalism, being a Big Ten school, and there's really no other big teams around. It's really the only big sports team in Nebraska. There's no pro teams of anything or anything like that.
True. Yeah.
Besides volleyball now. So it was just really good to do sports journalism there. And yeah, I don't think I would go anywhere else. I loved my experience, and yeah, really proud to be a alum of there.
Absolutely. I love a corn husker, which is amazing. I love that. And
Yeah.
mind you, I'm about 3.5 hours from Omaha,
Oh,
Nebraska, which yeah, I'm pretty close to there for sure. And I love asking that question because a lot of the times you get different answers from people saying sometimes it's money, sometimes it's getting away from home, which pretty much it's the number one and two answer. People want to get away from home. They don't really want to go in state. They kind of want to get away a little bit, grow a little bit as a person, which Missouri is an NBC affiliate. So I definitely know the University of Missouri definitely has a great journalism program. I actually wanted to go to Syracuse at first, which is
okay,
another
cool.
place, because my dad lives in upstate New York. And I thought it would be great for me to go to Syracuse and be able to come home, but a little bit far away. He was far away enough to where it wasn't too close, but I just was like, man, I don't know if I can deal with the cold. And look at me now. I'm here in the cold.
Back in Minnesota. Yeah.
Right in Minnesota for sure. So yes, I totally love that. Marissa, what I want to do is I want to ask you some favorite questions, and you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Are you with me?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, here we
Hopefully.
go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Definitely chicken fettuccine Alfredo. I have that almost weekly because I just love pasta and love Alfredo. So,
Well, Marissa, we're going to be very good friends because I'm a huge pasta lover myself, no question about it. I love chicken Alfredo. I'm more ziti, if you know
mm,
ziti. Definitely
yeah,
a
I've had
ziti
that a
fan.
couple times. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely like that. I'm not sure, and that's the one thing I want to do before I get to this next favorite. You work at the Colorado Gazette, but where is that located in Colorado? Because I recently just came to Denver.
Hmm.
I would say about a month ago. They had a sports career fair, and I went to Ball Arena, and that's where they held the
Oh,
sports. That's where they held the sports fair at. Where are you located in Colorado?
so I'm in Colorado Springs, which is about an hour south of Denver. So
Okay.
pretty close to there. And so that's where I work with the Colorado Springs Gazette. And then we're also merged with the Denver Gazette. So our sports teams kind of work together to just be a little bit bigger and have a bigger audience. And the Denver Post in Denver is, I guess, our biggest competitor. It's the biggest in the state. So
Yeah.
um, so we cover Colorado Springs sports, and then we also have the Denver Gazette that covers Denver sports. So we kind of, spread out our um reach a little bit with different teams and stuff.
Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. Well, let me
Yeah.
ask you this next one. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Yeah, so I'm actually a big Taylor Swift fan. So I went to the Eras tour just a couple months ago in Indianapolis. So I would say that was my favorite.
Okay. Now why in Indianapolis and not Colorado?
That's a good question. So she's done this tour for 2 years, or maybe a little under or over 2 years. And so
Right.
she was in Denver probably in 2023 or early 2024, a long time ago. And so I actually didn't get tickets for that show. And I also didn't really know where I was going to be at this point either. But I was just trying to get tickets anywhere, but it was really hard to get tickets. But then they announced that they were going to do some more US shows, including Indianapolis, which was closest to me, just being in Nebraska and Missouri, because the other shows were New Orleans and Miami. So
Yep.
I tried to get Indianapolis tickets, and I got lucky, and I actually got them about 14 months before the actual concert. So I was waiting for a while.
I could imagine. And my favorite album of hers is 1989.
Oh yeah. I would
That's
say
the
that's my
one with the
favorite too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Wildest Dreams is one of my favorite songs she's ever done. And she's done some really good songs, no question. Fortnite off this latest album with her and Post Malone, I thought that was pretty good. Funny
Yeah.
story. Funny story that I have for you is I went on a cruise in October, and the same day that I was flying out to Miami was the same weekend that Taylor Swift was doing her 3 shows.
Oh, really?
Everybody on the plane was singing Taylor Swift because they were going to the show. It was just
Wow.
insane. It was crazy. Like,
That's
yeah, that was
awesome.
wild.
Yeah, I've seen like videos and stuff about that. And flight attendants getting involved, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I
It
can
was. It
imagine.
was.
And being in Indianapolis, like even the days before, the streets were just full of fans, and yeah, it's pretty pretty cool how big she is. So
Yes, indeed. And God bless your heart for saving that money to pay for those tickets, because Lord have mercy, those tickets was up there. That's for sure. Um,
they're expensive, yeah. Luckily I got the like face value ones, so I didn't have to pay resale, but they were still pretty expensive. So
of course.
it's definitely a big investment, but it was worth it.
I love it. Yes, my favorite concert was Jay-Z and Kanye, Watch the Throne.
Oh,
That was my favorite one. No question about it. I love hip hop. I love R&B. I love all kind of concerts, but definitely hip hop is my favorite. I'm actually going, you said Indianapolis. I'm going to Lil Wayne next month in
oh,
Indianapolis.
that's
Yeah.
exciting. Is it at
Yeah.
Lucas Oil?
No, it's at the where the Pacers play. The
Oh,
game
okay.
bridge field house. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely. So I'll
that'll
be
be
going there
fun.
next. Yeah, it should be fun. I'm going there next month. As part of while I'm there, I'm doing a NFL career conference.
Hmm.
So I'll be going there to the NFL career conference and also the NFL combine. So I'll be going there as well.
Wow, that'd be so fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, Indianapolis
pretty,
has a lot of sporting events, and yeah, there's a lot of opportunity in Indianapolis for sure.
no
So,
doubt, no doubt.
so that'll
Okay,
be a good
Marissa.
time.
Next question I got for you: favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I lived in Los Angeles just this past summer when I was at the LA Times, and I would say that even though that wasn't like a vacation, that was probably one of my favorite places that I've lived. Um, yeah, I just got to explore LA while working there, um, and then also, got to cover some of the teams there. So it was just an overall really good experience.
No question. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you on LA because that's my hometown state. That's
Yeah.
where I definitely grew up in San Diego and definitely know LA pretty well. I would definitely say though my favorite place since traveling outside of the country is
Hmm. In
Jamaica.
Japan. Oh,
Yeah,
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Yeah, yeah. That's
That,
definitely
yeah.
one of my favorite places for
I bet it was
sure.
pretty warm.
It was hot. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was pretty hot. But their jerk chicken was amazing. They had the best jerk chicken I've ever tasted in my life. So it was great.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
sounds awesome. Yeah, I haven't been able to get out of the country yet, but I hopefully soon. Once get to save some money and some PTO saved and all of that. Definitely want to travel more.
You should definitely put that on the bucket list. Now, did you meet Ileana when you was at the LA Times?
Yeah, she was my boss.
Hmm.
So
I
talk
know
to her about
Ileana.
every day.
Yep, yep, yep. She came there, I believe, from Orlando, and I talked to her, and I still talk to her every now and then. But I definitely know Ileana is over the sports department at the LA Times. So yes, that's why I had to ask about her for sure. Okay,
Yeah,
she's great.
she's awesome. Yeah, she's great. She's a great mentor and obviously very talented journalist. And yeah, I was felt extremely lucky to be able to work with her over the summer and get to have her as a connection. So yeah, she's
No
great.
doubt. All right, Marissa, I got to ask you a favorite sports question because we're sports reporters. Favorite sport that you like to attend and favorite sport you like to watch on TV? They could be the same sport.
Oh, that's tough. Probably sport to attend, probably volleyball, which is not one of the main sports, but Nebraska was really good in volleyball, so I got a lot of exposure to that. They've gotten a couple of national championships. They've been to the Final Four the last couple of years. So volleyball is huge at Nebraska, and so I really got into that, and I got to go cover the Final Four in Tampa my senior year, and that was just an incredible experience and just
From
watching it in
Colorado.
person is just really really I don't know just a lot of fun and so I would say that that's for I guess attending a sporting event and then they also had their record-setting volleyball match inside Memorial Stadium where they had a volleyball match in the stadium in front of 92,000 fans and so
Wow.
attending that was pretty crazy. They set a world record for women's sports and yeah, that was wild. And then as far as watching on TV, I would say football. Um, really any kind. I like college or and NFL, maybe college a little bit more. But yeah, definitely football is a must for me and definitely very into, playoffs and then more recently the college playoffs, college football playoffs and so yeah, all things football I enjoy watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what a great national championship game we had last night.
Yeah.
Between those two teams. That was awesome. That was great. And yeah, I'm a huge football person. Obviously, we're gonna have two really good games come up this Sunday.
Yeah.
And I just caught wind and caught word that I'll be able to be going down to New Orleans for Media Row for the
Oh, are
Super Bowl.
you? That's
Yes,
really exciting.
yes.
Yeah, congratulations. That's a
Thank,
very
thank
huge opportunity.
Thank you so much. It's definitely something that I've been pushing for years. I've been in this industry for about 7 years now,
Hmm.
and just continuing to try to work. This will be my first time doing it, so just continuing to grind and do that. And there's no doubt in my mind that you'll be covering all the great shows as well eventually with the work that you do and the work ethic that you have. And
Well,
the
thank you.
final favorite, you're welcome. The final favorite that I have for you before I move on to the next question is favorite place that you like to eat. Now, I've been to Denver a couple times. I have not been to Colorado Springs, but I would love to know what is a favorite place that you like to go and eat at?
Yeah, in Colorado Springs or just in general?
Oh, just in general or
Just-
both, either one.
Yeah. That's a good question. There's so many good places. Let me think. In Colorado Springs, there's this really good restaurant called Lazy Dog. I think it's in other places outside of Colorado Springs too, but it just has really a good variety of food. But it also has good brunch food too. So it has a good brunch and dinner menu, and it's I guess American food. Like you can get burgers, pasta, fish. You can get whatever, and they also have really good drinks too, and like cocktails and that kind of thing. So I've really enjoyed that restaurant recently since I've been here. Since it's a little bit newer, and I believe it's locally owned too. So that's a pretty popular one around here.
Well, I do love to travel, Marissa. I really do, and I definitely will have to try that place out. Obviously, if
Yeah,
you're still there, I'm definitely going to have to say hello to you for sure as
oh, for
well.
sure.
I love that. That's awesome. That's great. Lazy dogs. I want to talk to you about your day to day. Because as you know, as a sports reporter, especially working in a publication place, it's a little hectic. It's a little crazy. And it's never the same. Our days are never the same. We're covering something different. I know from my time working in publications, there's been times where I had to wake up early in the morning to cover a signing day. There's times where I've had to do double headers for softball because I covered high school sports in college. There's times where you have to drive for miles and try to cover state events and stuff like that. Or if you're just trying to write a feature story and there's no sports involved at all. So it's just craziness anytime you're working in a publication. And I don't know about you, but I had to deal with layout. I had to deal with pages and different things of that nature. But
Uh,
tell me, what is your day to day process like? How do you get yourself ready to do a day to day in essentially your first, I would say, full time market job?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the Colorado Springs sports team is pretty small. There's one, two, three, four of us or so. So, we usually meet like at the beginning of the week and just plan out what all we need to cover for the week and who's going to do what. So my main, I guess, beat or focus is Air Force men's basketball. So they usually have 1 to 2 games a week, and then press conferences every once in a while. So that's my thing. So I usually attend all of those home games and then cover away games remotely. So most of the time they have a night game. So like on, I guess actually tomorrow they have one. So I'll be at the Air Force Academy covering that. And then we also cover high school sports or local high school sports. And so usually we'll be at some game or a couple games a week. Right now it's basketball. So in wrestling, so we're covering high school events. So that's kind of whoever is available and cover them. We also have a high school sports editor that kind of heads that and just tells us what he wants us to cover for high school
Sure.
sports. So those are the two things I hang as far as live coverage help out with the most. And then we also are trying to get more features out too. Because uh, that gets a lot of views too, sometimes
Sure.
even more than live
Absolutely.
coverage, is it's pictures
Yep.
of local athletes. And so I've done some high school features. I did one on an Air Force men's basketball player. One I did recently was on Haley Washington, who's a big volleyball player. She went to Penn State and now she's a professional and was on Team USA for the Paris Olympics, and she went to high school in Colorado Springs, so she's also a local athlete, and so I did like a really long form feature on her.
Sure.
So we each are like tasked with brainstorming ideas to pitch basically every week, and then we work on those for however long, and that's kind of what we do. We do have an office that I try to go to a couple days a week, but most of us work either fully remotely or hybrid. So a lot of flexibility there in terms of where we work and how we work. But yeah, that's typically what a week looks like.
No, I love that. I do. When I first came here to Minnesota, so I worked here in a publication for the first couple of years that I was here, and we were a two-man department. We had 12 high schools that we would cover. Now, the population is probably not as the population out there. The population here was 14,000. So it wasn't as
Mm,
big as probably what it is out there. But it was a two-man department covering 12 high schools and covering the college. And for us, we had 5 days a week well, first 6 days a week. Then we dropped to 5 days a week of getting our newspaper out. But the quick turnaround, we would have to
mm.
have it done by 11 o'clock. What is your quick turnaround from covering these games? Because if you're having late games, like around, let's say, what, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, we talking about Air Force, um, what is your deadline
Mhm.
time frame, and what is your quick turnaround that you got to have it? Because we had a print paper, but we also had an e-edition as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so usually when I finish a story, I for basketball, I try to get it in I have basically the gamer done by the end, like the buzzer. But then I also go to the press conference and get quotes and stuff. So really as soon as possible after I can get quotes and add them. So trying to shoot for like 30 minutes after the game ends or really as soon as I can. So like tomorrow's game starts at 8 and so it'll be like 10:30 around when the game ends and there's not really a true deadline. I mean there is a print deadline and I think it's around there. But
Okay,
they do have a little bit of flexibility and then there's also an e-edition too.
sure.
But yeah, I would say between 10:30 and 11, I guess is kind of the deadline for
Yeah.
print, but we have editors that stay on till like midnight or however long they need to, because there's also Avalanche and Nuggets and other games going on too. So
Absolutely.
we basically always have someone on hand to edit the stories and get them published and all of that.
Let me
So
ask
there's
you
like
this.
there's a separate staff for that.
Oh, you good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I totally understand that because here we would have sometimes the Twins, sometimes the Vikings, sometimes the Timberwolves. We would have stuff like that too, where people would have to kind of stay on as well. So I totally understand that. Let me ask you, what do you think the difference is from when you were doing this type of work at the Nebraskan to now doing it in Colorado? Because for me, when I was working with this student newspaper, I felt the difference when I got into that first full time role of doing it
Mhm.
like that. So what different do you feel any difference from being in a collegiate to now professional?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this is a full-time job, so I'm always having to work on stories and have one, ready. And whereas with college, it was a lot more loose, like, oh, I can work on this story for a couple weeks or however long it needs to take, or, if I'm busy this week, I could just take the week off or, whatever I need to. It wasn't as strict, I guess, in college, whereas now, like, I have deadlines. I need to have the story finished by the end of the week. Like, there's a lot more expectations, and which I like. I like having that, and especially with live coverage in or in college, we didn't really have deadlines for after games, which always kind of annoyed me a little bit. I wish we were a little bit more stricter, because I was an editor in my senior year, and so we would have to wait for our
Mm.
writers to finish their stories, and then
Right,
sometimes they took like an hour or two after the game, and it was
right.
midnight at that point. So so I think that's something that I've liked a lot, more being here, and then also my other internships too, is it was having stricter deadlines, and I think that just helps a lot. It makes you a faster thinker, and it also helps with taking notes during the game, and both writing down notes and taking mental notes too. You just kind of learn your own process, and it just helps with the writing process overall. So that would be the biggest difference, I would say, between college and having a full-time job. But college experience was great. Definitely got a lot of good articles under my belt, and the fundamentals
Sure.
and stuff, and then
Absolutely.
just being and now it's just a little bit more professional setting with a little bit more expectation.
I think you hit it on the head. For me, for sure, the biggest was being able to write during the game and complete the gamer during the game. Make
Yeah.
sure that I'm taking the right notes, make sure I'm writing down the right stuff, make sure that I can get quotes pretty accurately and flip those quotes pretty quickly into the story.
Hmm.
And now I can do that now that I've been doing it for years, I can do it on average in about 30 minutes. I can flip something really quick with quotes and have my story ready to roll. But when I first started out, it was tough, especially when you're covering teams that are losing very lopsided. I remember I covered a team that lost 66 to nothing in football. It was high school football.
Wow.
And it was tough for me to write that story because one, these are kids we're talking about. It's 14, 18-year-old kids. So you don't want to bash these kids that we're
Hmm.
talking about, but you also want to tell the truth of the story. But then you also don't have much story to go off of because the team scored 0 points and they lost pretty bad. So my thing was just trying to figure out, how do I not bash these kids, but also still tell my truth? Because the main people that read our stories, especially in high school, is parents, is family, is those are the subscribers that we have. And I struggled with that, Marissa. I did for a while and I would ask my sports editor, I don't know how to shake this. Like, I don't want to bash these kids and tell these kids stats, and you know these parents reading it, then they come up to you and then they say these type of things. So I had to
Yeah.
build some thick skin,
Hmm.
which I'm sure you know about at this point because there's probably some stories that people have came to you and talked to you about. But I want to ask you about your work life balance and also your mental health. Um, I always tell people, Marissa, that this job is a beautiful job. It's a fulfilling job. I love this job and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it also comes with a lot of sacrifice. It comes with a sometimes when you want to go turn up with your friends, you can't do that because you got a deadline, you got a story to do.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you want to take that day off and have that holiday to go spend with family, you can't do that because sports goes through holidays, and
Mhm.
you're working. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also have a work-life balance to where you don't feel like you're burnt out.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, one of the biggest things that my professors in college emphasized was like being a sports journalist is a lot of fun. Like it can seem glamorous to some people, but you're working nights, weekends, and holidays,
Yep.
and that's the toughest part of the job. I mean, since I started just a couple months ago, I've worked almost every Saturday for some event, and that's just kind of what the job is. And I don't think a lot of people realize the kind of sacrifice and time and work that sports journalists put in. But having a work-life balance is still extremely important, and not getting burnt out, and because you still want to enjoy the job, of course. And
Mhm.
so for me, I mean, just being really communicative with my sports editor, and when we're planning out the schedule, I'm obviously wanting to do like all the events that I can and stuff, but if I feel like I'm having too many back-to-back days, or that I'm not having as much time off, or if I need a little bit of break or whatever, he's like super flexible with that, and so just communicating that I think is key. Or like if I, go into a situation or covering a sport that I never have before, and
Yeah.
I always want to ask questions to
Yeah.
him, so I'm not feeling like I'm overwhelmed and going into it blind. And so that helps a lot just with my own like mental health and mental health, and making sure I'm not stressed all the time, and stuff like that. And then also just when I have time off, or when I'm off the clock, really taking that time off, like shutting down completely. I don't look at my work emails, or try not to unless there's something important, and just really try to unplug from work and remove myself from what I'm working on, and that just helps a lot. And finding different activities to do, watching shows, reading a book, hanging out with friends, just really trying to detach from my work life, and that helps a lot. And there's not usually anything on Sundays, or there haven't been yet, so Sundays is a really big mental health day for me in the week, because I don't do any work. I can just relax, and then be able to start strong on Monday. So making sure I carve out that time, and also communicating, like if I feel like I have too much on my plate, or whatever it is that week. Those are two really important things for me.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that, Marissa. I really am. And you've realized that at a very early age, which is great. It's amazing.
Mm.
And I love talking to people like that. But it's an important question to ask, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they'll say that you have a very glamorous job of, oh, you're a sports reporter, you get to go cover this, you get to go cover that. And yes, you do have a job that you love to do. But people really don't know the behind the scenes, Marissa, of what goes on. Like how you got to
Mm.
prepare yourself for the job, how many notes you got to take, how much stuff you actually got to do to be able to go do your job to the best of your abilities. Deadlines, but also, like you said, working every Saturday, the grind, right? And you're talking about a four-man group. So it's not just you that you got to sacrifice, and it's the other three members too that are sacrificing. So you also have to be able to be like, okay, well, if I take this day, then we gotta compromise with that.
Mhm.
And mind you, for me, it was very tough starting out at first because it was one of those things where it was like, man, I'm an outgoing person. Like to work every Friday night because it's Friday night football, to work
Mhm.
every Saturday because it's basketball. I was like, ooh, okay, I like doing this, but at some point I got to set some boundaries, which is something that you seem like you've been doing too, which is amazing. And I
Mhm.
love to hear that because a lot of times in this game, people will just want to go, 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 go and get the reps. but they don't understand that you do break down mentally if you don't
Mhm.
give yourself a break. I also love the point that you made about detaching yourself. It is so hard with social media when you have all these sports and all these people on and talking to detach yourself and put the phone down and not be on Twitter, not be on Facebook, not be on TikTok, and not be trying to be up to date, right? It's just hard to do because everybody has one. And I love that you said that you kind of get away and read a book and do something different.
Mhm.
It kind of bleeds into my next question, which is about advice. What advice would you give someone that wants to start a sports journalism career like yourself, right? You're a recent graduate. There's a lot of recent graduates sometimes that has a misconception of what this sports reporter life is like. And you and I both know what it's like, even though you just getting into it, but you've been a part of it with through your collegiate career. What advice would you give someone about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess starting with like college students, a lot of the time I would tell college students to look for as many opportunities as you can as early on as you can. I mean, there's some people that will major in sports journalism and want to be a sports journalist, but they haven't had an internship or anything, and it's their senior year and they don't have any work or just anything to produce to employers, and that can leave them stuck, and maybe potentially looking at another career path. So I always advocate like starting as soon as you can. Not saying not everyone can get a fresh or internship their freshman year, but just joining the school newspaper or going to games and just writing on your own and getting the reps. Just finding ways to just get exposed as early on as you can. And then, as you build more work and build a portfolio, applying for internships at your local paper or bigger papers, whatever you want. That's just extremely important and just a big step in getting to where you want to go. And not everyone has the resources to do that. So finding mentors too is another thing that I talk about. Finding mentors in your professors or a local reporter. A lot of local reporters and people like that are always willing to talk to student journalists, and so
Absolutely.
mentorship is a big thing. And how I found a lot of my opportunities throughout college and got me to where I am today. So really engaging and getting involved in the journalism community is super important. And there's a lot of organizations out there, or like national organizations to get involved with. So I was involved with like the Association of Women in Sports Journalists, and like AWSM, which or that's
Yeah.
what that one is, and then APSC is another big one, and there's
Yep.
like National Association of Hispanic Journalists and Black journalists and Asian journalists, and there's just
Yeah.
so many things to get involved in, and so I always advocate to get involved with those, and a lot of people don't even know that those exist, so just doing your own research or asking people about it, like professors may know about those things and can get you connected. So that's something that I would tell college students and then people just like starting out in their careers, is to be patient and don't compare yourself to others. Everyone has a different path.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like after my internship at the LA Times, it took me several months to find a full-time job, and it just took a lot of emailing and interviews and trying to keep my options open of where I wanted to go. At first, I was a little bit more closed-minded of these are the specific cities that I want to be in, but as it becomes harder to find sports journalism jobs, you have to have a little bit more of an open mind of where
You
you want
do.
to go and where you're willing to
Absolutely.
go. And so that was a big lesson for me and just being patient and not getting down on myself. Like I should have a job right after this internship, or I should have a job within a month. Just really staying strong mentally and knowing that an opportunity will come at the right time. Just yeah, reminding yourself that you can still be in this industry even if you don't have a job lined up
Absolutely.
right away.
Yeah.
That's just really important to know. And I think a lot of sports journalists expect to just have a bunch of job opportunities or job openings as soon as they graduate, and that's just not the reality of the industry. It's really hard to get a full-time job in sports journalism nowadays. So just being aware of that and being aware of opportunities like freelancing or maybe even just doing another internship after college. There's other
Mhm.
avenues to get into the industry besides a full-time job. Um,
Without question.
so yeah, that's the biggest advice I would give.
No, it's great advice. That's terrific advice like that, and I love the fact that you was very transparent with your own journey, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, it is disheartening when you hear a lot of no's or when you don't hear back from some people. It just there's no other word to use. But you learn in this industry that you're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. But all you need is one yes. You also learn that there's sometimes where you might have to move somewhere that you never thought in your wildest dreams you would move to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just what this job does. But it's a great learning experience. It's not just learning about sports journalism, but it's also learning about, demographic places, right? You move to different places. Like you said, you grew up in Columbia, but you also was in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now you're in Colorado. Well, those are three different places. And you're going to move to different places. And you're going to continue to learn and grow in more places like that. I try to tell people all the time, the main thing is to do everything, try
Mm-hmm.
everything. When you're in college, try everything: produce, direct, write, anchor, radio, whatever you want to do everything because you'll learn about what you want to do and you learn about what you don't want to do. And the main thing is also the next thing that I like to tell my kids for sure is that you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of kids don't know about that, especially my high schoolers. I also substitute teach, Marissa, as well. So when I tell them be comfortable, be uncomfortable, that's not just about sports journalism, it's about life. But I tell them that there's going to be times where you cover a sport, like you said, that you really don't know about, which I had to learn that too. I had to do a rodeo, had to ride a rodeo one
Oh,
time.
wow.
I've never been on a damn horse in my life. I've never even seen a horse in my life at all. I don't know nothing about horses. So I was very uncomfortable, but I found a way to try to make a comfort, turn that into a comfort because I thought it was a pretty cool event. I just didn't know much about it. I had to cover a fishing event. I don't know nothing about fishing. I've never been fishing in my life, but I had to cover a fishing event and still do my job. Again, you just have to turn uncomfortable situations, I should say, into a comfort. And then once you do that, then you'll be able to handle situations in a more mature way. The only way you can do that is through experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are both really good pieces of advice. And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the first one too about a variety of skills. That's something that we talked a lot about in college, is that it's good to be good in everything. Um, One, you like learn what you like and you don't like, but also when it comes to finding a job or internships, you may not get to do what you want right away. So it's good to know like how to write scripts or produce or, photography, like all those skills. May lead to a job, and then that could eventually lead to what you want to do. So having a lot of skills is definitely important, and especially in sports, a lot of places are looking for multimedia journalists who can do photography and video and write. Rarely they want you to just write, so it's good to have a lot of different skills.
Absolutely, I agree. Marissa, it's about that time that we do this or that, which is my interactive game that I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It's pretty simple. I'll throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, for the second time, Marissa, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, here we go. Do you like chicken?
Yes.
Okay, so which place would you rather eat chicken at? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
Okay, we off to a good start. I love that. I love that. Here we go. Chicken wing flavors. Which flavor are you putting on the chicken? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Probably barbecue.
Okay, do you like your wings wet or dry?
Usually dry.
Okay, and do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Usually boneless, but can do with bone too, but prefer
Okay,
boneless.
boneless. Okay, so you like to eat your wings with a fork.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, okay, I'm with you on that. I like that. I like boneless wings too. More meat, so I love that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, this next question, or next, I should say, 5 questions, have to do with which music concert would you rather go to? Okay, which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Drake or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick Lamar, for sure.
Okay, I like that. I like that. We off to a good start.
Yeah, I like
Which,
his newest album
oh
too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. His newest album definitely slaps. No question about it. Okay, here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Beyonce or Rihanna?
Hmm, it's tough. Probably Beyonce.
Okay. Did you like her Cowboy Carter album?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I listen to her
Okay.
sometimes, and I know she's a
Okay.
good performer too.
He is very good. Okay, here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see J. Cole or Lil Wayne?
I honestly haven't really listened much of either one, but probably Little Wayne.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Do you like country music?
Not really. I used to when I was younger, but not so much now.
Okay. What now I know you like pop music.
Hmm.
Okay, so here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears?
Hmm. Let's see. Probably Britney Spears. She was pretty
Okay.
iconic back in the day. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Megan Thee Stallion or Dua Lipa?
Dua Lipa.
You said that real quick. Okay. Okay. You like you some Dua Lipa, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. One of my favorite songs of hers is Prisoner. If you know that
Mm.
song. Yes,
Yeah, I
it's
think so. Yeah.
one of
Yeah,
my
that was
favorite
a good
ones.
one.
Okay. Okay. You did good on that. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or hockey?
Probably basketball, but
Okay.
but hockey's also fun too. So it's that one's close.
I feel you on that. I like that. I'm a huge basketball person. I love basketball.
Hmm.
Okay. I would say, which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Probably badminton.
Are you good at badminton?
I haven't played in a while, but I played a lot in high school, then not very good at bowling. So I would say it's just out of what I'm better at, I would say badminton.
I feel that. I feel that. I'm okay at bowling too. I'm not the best at bowling, but I can knock some pins down. So that's for sure. Okay. I'm with you on that. Do you like desserts?
Yes, yes. I'm a
Okay.
very big sweets person.
Oh, well then you already making me smile, Marissa, because I'm definitely into sweets myself. Here we go. I'm gonna throw 4 categories at you. You get to choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again. Okay?
Mm.
So here we go. First one is candy. The second one is cookies. The third one is cakes/pies. The last one is ice cream. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Mm, Probably pies.
Okay, okay, interesting. What is
Yeah.
your favorite ice cream?
Probably cookie dough. Just the classic cookie dough.
I feel that. That is my second favorite. My
Mm.
second favorite is cookie dough, no question. First would be cookies and cream.
That one's a good one too. I had that pretty recently, actually. Yeah,
Mm,
those two are some good ones.
absolutely. Do you like potato chips?
Yeah, off and on, but yeah, in general, yes.
Okay, so this is the same format. I'm gonna throw 4 brands at you, and you get to choose one of these that you'll never eat again. So here we go. First one is Doritos. The second one is Pringles. The third one is Lay's. The last one is Ruffles. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Doritos.
Wow, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's probably not a very popular opinion, but don't really eat Doritos that much.
That's okay, Marissa. Listen, as my as my dad would tell me, he would say, "Do you, boo?" That's what he would tell me all the time. You got to do you. So I feel that, but yeah, I would have got rid of Lay's myself for
Mm.
sure, for sure. Are you a salt and vinegar person?
Not really. I just like the plain Lay's, the originals. And then the what is it? The orange flavor. I can't remember what it's called, but
Oh, that's the cheddar, cheddar.
cheddar, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Well, you did pretty good on this or that. That's for sure. No question about that. I love asking this next question, Marissa, and that is if it wasn't journalism that you are making a career in, what career path would you have went down and why?
That's tough. It's really always kind of been journalism, but I also have a lot of teachers in my family, and so it would probably be something in education.
I can see that. I can totally see you being like, would you do like adolescent or would you do like elementary?
Probably adolescent, like middle school, high school. I don't think I would have the patience for elementary every day.
I totally understand that. I really do. Okay. I
Yeah, my
that's
sister does it, so good for her, but yeah.
absolutely. That's what I sub teach now. So I sub teach adolescent
Mhm.
kids well at different high schools. So that's pretty cool. Give me a top four. And the reason why I want to ask is I want a top four of sporting events that you would like to cover in your career. And I'll give you an example from mine. Number one is probably the Olympics. Number two is going to be NBA Finals. Number three is going to be a national championship game, whether it's basketball or football. And then four is going to be a World Series. Since Super Bowl, I can kind of mark off. So that was an honorable mention, but I can mark that off now. Give me four of yours. What will yours be?
Yeah, Olympics for sure. That's especially with LA coming up.
Mm,
I think that would be amazing. So, Olympics number one. Probably college football national championship game. I think that would be a lot of fun. And then Super Bowl, I think that could be
sure.
be awesome as well, especially since it'd be too expensive to attend anytime, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so to be able to go as a media member, I think would be great. But then after that, oh, fourth one. I've been lucky to do a lot um already. Um, let's see.
what about the World Cup? I
Awards.
think that I think. What about the World Cup?
Yeah, yeah, I think World Cup would be a good one. That's a good answer. Probably women's. I enjoy watching the US women's national team and got to see them a couple of years ago, just for a regular game. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember you said you played soccer. I didn't know what position did you play?
So I was midfield, usually like or I guess like the left wing, because I was left-footed. So midfield was kind of my position, and that's kind of what got me into running, was I was always running up and down the field. And yeah, that's what introduced me to running and got me to that point.
Now you seem very nice, Marissa, but something tells me there is like a super competitive edge in you when you are playing sports. How competitive are you?
I'm pretty competitive. Yeah, I would say. Don't play. I haven't played a ton of team sports recently, but yeah, whenever I do, and then in high school, yeah, I was definitely very competitive.
I like that. No, I do. You always have to look out for it's the baby face people. You have that baby face. You always have to
Yeah.
worry about them on the field
Mhm.
because they're the ones that definitely can hurt you for
Yeah,
sure.
they can hide it.
No, no question. I love that. What is some advice? Because we talked about advice you gave, but what is
Mhm.
some advice that you that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think more recent like good advice actually from Ileana over the summer was to not be afraid to bother your editors or ask your editors questions. At first I was very hesitant to reach out to them, or I just always felt like I was bothering them with my questions and stuff. But throughout the summer she assured me like, no, we want you to reach out, like even if you text us multiple times a day, like we want you to communicate as much as possible, and don't feel like you're bothering us. And so I've taken that like with my job here and with them and stuff, to not be so self-conscious about myself and feel like I'm a burden to them, because I'm not, and we're supposed to be communicating and being a team member and all of that. So yeah, that was really good advice.
Perfect. I mean, I told you about the 66-0 game and how it would just, I would be so bothered. I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how to write the story, and I would bother my editor all the time. And yeah, I would feel that kind of same thing that you felt, but I was just trying to write a very good story that was compelling enough for people that want to read when I was first
Yeah,
starting out, right?
that's
Because
tough with those kind of games.
right, you know what I mean? So it's just tough because I really do care about not just my story and how it comes off, but I care about the reactions. I care about the families, the parents, the kids, because I was that high school kid out there that did lose a couple of those games like that, and I
Hmm.
felt horrible. It's just no question about it. I mean, every loss in a when you lose in high school, it's just you just can't get over it. I remember one time I was covering uh girls basketball. It was high school, and they lost and their season ended, and they was all in tears. Marissa, like it was very hard for me to interview them because I'm like, I
Yeah,
know I gotta talk to you, but this locker room won't be the same next year,
yeah.
and you feel that. So yeah, I love that advice that Ileana gave you. She's amazing. She's terrific, but
Mhm.
I also understand what you said about that, that being apprehensive a little bit to be like, oh man, should I ask? Should I not? Should I bother them? Should I not? And now, I bother the heck out of everybody now. So yeah, I'm pretty
Mhm.
good with bothering people now. So I'm good with that. This has been a pretty dope conversation, Marissa. Just
Yeah.
really getting to know you from your background and knowing kind of your stories that you do, your day-to-day process, being able to choose the school that you wanted to choose. I want to ask you some rapid fire questions because we're coming to the end of the podcast. So I want you, the first thing that comes to your mind, I want you to just say what's on your mind, okay, based upon these questions. For the last time, I'm going to ask you, are you with me?
Yes, I am. Mhm.
Here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers,
Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
pancakes,
Okay. Chicken or ribs?
chicken,
Okay. What's your favorite color?
purple.
I like it. Oh, now we talking dark purple or lavender?
I'm more dark purple.
Okay. I like that. Favorite TV show or Netflix series?
Ooh, Parks and Recreation.
That's a good one. Yeah. Wow. That's a throwback. But that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's classic. Mhm.
Okay. I like that. Favorite alcoholic drink?
Ooh, probably just a margarita.
Graduated college in 2021. First time that I've ever had a margarita was that year. Never had a
Really?
margarita since. Yeah, margarita. And they're pretty good. Do you like a lot of salt around the rim?
I actually usually put sugar around the rim.
Huh? Sugar.
When I had the option of salt or sugar, I put sugar.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've had that before. I definitely got to try that. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
just
pretty
add a
good.
little more sweetness to it, I guess. I like fruity
Yeah,
drinks. Mhm.
yeah. Fruity drinks is good. Okay, I like
Mhm.
that. If you had a choice to choose three people plus yourself, so it's total of four, to go on a vacation, who would you choose to go and where would you go? Now, you could choose friends, family, or you could choose celebrities.
Ooh, celebrities. That's tough. You said four or three,
Three
three
more plus
addition?
you. So get three more.
Yeah. Probably my boyfriend. His name is Ty. I would definitely bring him. And then I mean, in a hypothetical world, Taylor Swift, I think could be fun to go on vacation with. I think she'd be a lot of fun. And then oh gosh, who would be the last one?
I think you probably have to bring Taylor Swift's boyfriend with
Oh,
her.
true.
You
Yeah, I
bring the
almost forgot
boyfriend.
about him. So I guess
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey.
I would think you probably have to bring the boyfriend since you bringing your man. I'm like, yeah, you probably would. You know what I mean? I feel that. Where would you go?
Probably New Zealand.
Wow. Okay. I think you're the first person to ever say that. New Zealand. That's what's up. I like that.
Yeah,
If
it's a
you
beautiful
had
country.
if you had a choice to pick three songs or three artists that you'll never get tired of listening to on repeat, what would those three songs or three artists be?
I think you probably know the first one. Probably Taylor. I listen to her about every day. And then I'm also a big Gracie Abrams fan. She's a pop singer.
Hmm.
And then Coldplay, which is a band
Wow.
also.
Coldplay, "Viva La Vida" and "Lost" is two of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Uh, but "Sky Full of Stars" is one of my favorite tracks
Oh my
too.
gosh. That's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I like that.
I'm actually seeing them in July too. So
Really? Where you seeing them at?
Madison, Wisconsin, actually. They're
Wow.
coming to Denver, but got tickets for Wisconsin before I knew I was gonna be in close to Denver. So
Well, Marissa, you make sure you tell me how that show goes, please, because I'm a huge Coldplay fan. No question about that, for
yeah,
sure.
it's gonna be
Um,
pretty amazing.
yeah, right. Favorite sandwich,
Probably a club sandwich.
club sandwich. Okay. Favorite board game.
Board game. Monopoly.
Yeah, me too. I'm a beast when I get bored walking Park Place, though. I be busting that. You know what? I'm trying to tell you, I'm pretty good. Okay. Favorite card game.
Card game. Probably Uno.
I got you. Spades or dominoes?
Uh, Dominoes.
Dominoes. Okay. Last one. If they told you, Marissa, for the rest of your sports journalism career, you can only cover one sport, which
Mm.
sport would you cover? Football, baseball, volleyball, or basketball? Which sport would you cover?
Probably football.
I like it. I like it. That's pretty dope. It is. It's pretty dope. I really do appreciate you staying rocking with me on this late night hour of my podcast for sure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and talking to you. And I wish you nothing but future success as you are growing in your career. And I really hope we get to see each other down the line. It'd be pretty cool to have some credentials around our neck, being on the
Oh.
same field. That'd be dope. Um, as I always say to every guest that I have on my podcast, is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Um, I I guess one thing I could add is that running is still a really big part of my life, even though I'm not playing in college or running in college anymore. I'm still really involved with running and run almost every day and do have marathons and stuff. And I've really been able to find a different joy in the sport than I did before. In college, it was a lot more like a job, and it sometimes wasn't as fun. But now I can do whatever I want, and it's just been a big part of me, and also a nice stress reliever too,
Yeah.
to get kind of out of the headspace of the day to day. So, yeah, that's just something else a little bit about me.
Well, I appreciate you, Marissa, giving me that 411. I want you to take care. Enjoy your Tuesday evening. Please don't be a stranger. You and I would definitely be in touch. And once again, thank you for being a part of my podcast.
Yeah, of course. I'm really glad we could connect, and as you said, I hope maybe we can see each other at some event or something down the road. So yeah, I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
No doubt. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Have a good night.